Hi guys, and welcome to Actualize here again. I'm going to be answering a few of the questions. Today's topic is finding balance. As always, I get these questions sent in. I've not reviewed them, so I'll flow with it as it comes. Again, my name is Dr. Casper. Thank you for joining us today, and I'll be answering these few questions on finding balance. How can you identify your priorities and values to help guide your balance? How can you identify your priorities and values to help guide your balance? So what does balance mean? To me, when I hear finding balance, what I understand is, how do I learn how to be a well-rounded person? Okay? In that, in every area of my life, there's a sense of ordering, right? So in terms of priorities and values, this means you're a person who has understood what is important in life. And so let me make it simple. I always start with faith, God, family, and then fellowship, and then fellows. Okay? So what's your balance in faith, right? What's your relation? Do you take time to pray, to meditate, to be in the Word of God? Second, do you prioritize your family and family time? Okay? And that is, don't be so busy trying to do things for your family, but you're not actually there for your family. 3, your fellowship. Who are the close friends that you have fellowship with? Do you prioritize them also? And then 4th, your fellows, people you work with. Now, the closer, the more time, and the greater the priority. Okay? So the closer is faith, next segment is family, next segment, and that's how you prioritize, to me, and find a balance. Okay? And so that's question number 1. Question number 2. What are some strategies for setting healthy boundaries to maintain balance? All right. So this is very tricky in the world we live in. Boundaries help you be a balanced person. But this is what I've learned. In the world we live in, we are so busy trying to get somewhere, do something, okay? And so we either don't accept boundaries in our lives, or we allow others to remove those boundaries or test them. Take, for example, the invention of this, right? The smartphone. This is one of the reasons why we've lost boundaries, because at any point in time, people are messaging you, people are calling you, people are texting you, and there's this idea in the world we live in that somebody has to answer you immediately. And that removes the boundaries. For example, I believe when you're in your house, when you're in your home, when you're with your family, this needs to be off unless there's an emergency, right? And so there's no boundaries there. And therefore, there is actually no faith time, there's no family time. Do you see where I'm going with this, right? We're so busy with work. People expect you to overwork. I was watching something this week of this young lady who was constantly overworked and just accepting. Here's the thing. I really think there's a place in which you, as a worker or a laborer, have the right to put a pause on exploitation. And also speaking to the leaders and bosses, right? You have a passion, yeah, it's your company, you're trying to build it. But realize that they're not the owners, they're working for you. So you have to also discipline yourself to understand that they actually have families. They have times they need to de-stress. And so don't guilt trip people by violating their boundaries. And also as a person, I know in the world we live in, it's been tight, right? People have to pay bills. But if you're in a position or situation that you can be able to hopefully work out a scenario in which there's a work-life balance, right? It's always funny. The people who criticize work-life balances tend to be people who are the owners, who want to squeeze every ounce out of someone. But when it comes time to take themselves and their families out on vacation, they think there should be a work-life balance. So that's what I would say. Prioritize those 4 things and make sure that in that way you have set your strategic, right, hey, I gotta have time for faith, I have to have time for family, I have to have time for my fellows, and I have to have time for my fellowship, and I gotta balance that out. Number 3, how can you learn to say no without feeling guilty or anxious? Well, there is no easy way. What you have to realize is come to an understanding of the type of person that you are. You know, there are different, what I call actualized languages. By the way, go check out a book I put together called the 4 Actualized Languages, right? Based on the Greek temperaments. And the reason is there are those with a type of actualized character or language that allows them to easily say no, to easily say, I can't do it, and move on. But there's a whole lot of other people who have a problem and feel very anxious when they say no to people. To those people, I will say it is really about practice. I want you to sit back and think about the cost of not saying no, right? Think about the cost on your family. Think about the cost on your spouse. Think about the cost on your health and your well-being. Think about the cost on close relationships. And quantify those costs and ask yourself, is it worth losing all these things that are precious in my life for temporary yeses, for people who want yeses? And you know what? They could kick you out of their lives. They could fire you at a moment's notice. So that's what I will say. It's not easy. I don't want to make it as if there's a easy strategic move you can. No. Don't, I'm not going to teach you to manipulate. I'm not going to teach you how to do that. What I'm just going to say is it's better to learn how to build those known muscles, right? Just build those muscles, looking at the big picture and saying, hey, I'm sorry. I'm available from this time to this time. Hey, I'm sorry. I have plans. And then the other thing is also, as I say, when you're prioritizing where you want to work, when you're prioritizing who you should be in relationships with, see how they react, right? See how they react to you saying you have other important priorities. And if you see that they're always negative, right? But somehow when they tell you no, they expect you to be positive, then if you're able to, it's time to exit. Number 4, how can you prioritize rest and relaxation to avoid burnout? Wow, I'm not gonna lie, this was also hard for me because I'm an actualized visionary. I like the actualized language of I like to get things done. I like to burn out. I can go and sit in a coffee shop for 6-7 hours working on a project, day after day. And that's part of my passion, is getting things done. But what ends up happening is you might reach a point of burnout. You might reach a point of exhaustion. Now, the funny thing is, normally, people who are like this tend to think, I don't have burnout. It's the weak people who have burnout. It's the people who are not strong enough. But, I would say burnout actually operationalizes in different ways. There are those who burn out and just shut down. But there are those who take out their anxiety and their frustrations and their stress on people. And they will also say, I'm not burned out. No, you're just manifesting it different. You are taking it out on your family. You're taking it out on people. You shout at people at work. You have no self-control at work. What is that? It's the stress and the anxiety that is in you. So let me say this. I'm not trying to redefine the word burnout, but I would say burnout is not just about shutting down, closing off and walking away. Burnout is also when you're going off on people, when you are treating people negatively because you're not dealing with the internal issues, all right? And so, yes, prioritize rest. In fact, I always say your inner sanctum, right? Your home, your family, those places are supposed to be places without stress. I know that's not for everybody, okay? And it's not easy. But to the best of your ability, like for me, I know if the house has to be in order, has to be clean, things have to flow, that will help me to rest and relax. And if you're with someone, please create a sanctuary for them. If you see you have a friend, a loved one who has dealing with a lot, Don't start bringing stuff when they come in. Serve them a cup of water, serve them a cup of tea. Let them sit down for 2 seconds, right? These are important things that helps people to de-stress from the issues of life. Number 5, what are some tools or resources that can help you find and maintain balance? All right. Very simple. I like to go to the basics. And if you've watched Actualize long enough, you'll know what I'm probably going to say is buy a book. You need a daily diary to record what you're doing for that day. And as you're recording this, make sure that recording takes into account that balance. At a certain point, you need breaks, so you need to write breaks in there. At a certain point, you need to close shop and go home. At a certain point, you need to wake up, you need to work out. You need to work out, you might need to wake up 1 hour early. You need to pray and meditate, you may need to wake up 2 hours early to account for these new things. But what you're doing is you create a balance. Your life is not just wake up, shower, go to work, come home, boom. What you have to do is find some other things. And what you're doing now is when you create that order, when you create that calendar, you'll have more things done, but you'll also prioritize your health and wellness. You'll prioritize your work times, right? And people will start to respect you when they realize, hey, this person is willing to say no. This person has boundaries. This person has an ordered life. I can't just call him or her and say, hey, come over here. Oh, I need you to do that. Like, no, I have this and this plan. And then people will start to realize, wow, this is not a person we can misuse. Finally, number 6, what are some signs that you've achieved a good balance and how can you sustain it? All right. So when I think about what are some things, all right, I think give yourself a test, a self-assessment, if I will say. Number 1, how is your faith life? Do you have times of rest, reflection, prayer, meditation, being in the Word? Is that something that you have time for? The second test, on a scale of 1 to, let's say 1 to 5. How much time do you prioritize faith? Family, on a scale of 1 to 5. Do you have time for your family? How is that balanced? Even before we get to family, let's go to you, right? When it comes to you, how much time do you have for your health? If you look at your health right now, on a scale of 1 to 5, how much have you inputted in your body? All right? Do you actually write down, do you have a plan, action plan of exercise or at least walking, even if it's that, or doing anything mobile? Do you have any priority? Have you actually have an action plan of how you eat? Do you have any of these things? Because if you don't have any of these things, there's nothing you are assessing, right? So I would say looking at yourself, faith, health, wellness. Number 3, your family. Number 4, your fellows, your close friends. Do you have times where you can relate with close friends? Because that's also therapeutic. And then the final one, your fellows. Do you actually have time where you are actually considering work, investments, finance, all these things? So when you do an assessment of all those areas in life, where will you rank yourself on average, right? Do you feel like, now the other thing is this, for many people, just thinking about that gives you anxiety and stress, okay? And I understand that. And so what I want to say is, it's okay. Don't try to do everything at once. When you do an assessment, when I teach, I like to do an assessment of students at the beginning to see where they are, right? An assessment is not failure. An assessment in the beginning of a matter is to see your level. And then from there, we can build up, right? In fact, that's what I would recommend. If you feel like you need to build up, go to one of our videos, find a video on an area that you want to grow, study that video, learn, okay? And so my recommendation is strategically go through these different areas I've talked about, see where they rank in your life and then from there systematically take small steps. Don't try to finish it in 6 months. Don't try to finish it in a year. Give yourself 3 to 5 years to build up slowly, right? And then the other thing also I want you to do is this. You don't just make a plant healthy by filling it with stuff, right? You gotta also cut off a lot of things. So with that, also ask yourself, what are many distractions and many things in life that are weighing me down? And guess what? It might be time to cut them down. So I think that's all I have on finding balance. I hope these few minutes have been helpful, are going to help you actualize in life. As always, I want to thank my co-host, who's not here, Madam Glory, for sending in those questions, and looking forward for when she's able to return. As always, if you love this, please like, share, subscribe, and give us a comment. Let us know what you think. Help us build this channel together. As always, to the Actualize Nation, bye-bye. All right. What are some tools or resources that can help you find and maintain balance? Let's do that again. What are some signs that you have? Repeat, all right? And so, how can you cultivate? So how can you manage? Hold on. Okay. So that's what I would say.
Welcome to Actualize Talks, your destination for purpose discovery, setting vision goals, and fostering leadership growth.
I'm joined in studio by Dr. Casper.
Joining me now in the studio, we have Dr. Casper.